So I had to do some research on the Pantheon of Gods and the first civilization of Sumer, because I have been in and out of the different groups and belief systems in the born again Christian world and the different offshoots. And so I'm looking at some of these names of these first 7 tribes of the Anunnaki, the first Pantheon of Gods. And I see recognizable names like Anu. There's people on my Facebook named Anu, Sky. I've also seen people use symbols for Enki. I haven't seen too much of like Ninhursag, but I've heard of Lilith. Okay, that's probably in the Bible, but her original name was Ninhursag. I don't know why they changed the names, but I have an idea. Then there's like Nana, the Norse god. Okay, she actually is very pale skin, and these are the Viking gods that originated from Sumer. But I've heard that then there is like the goddess of fertility, Inanna, but they also call her Ishtar. And then I guess we have like pagan versus Christianity or something like that. And I'm just thinking like, so this is the split between pagan versus the Christian Judeo type of thing, because the original gods were the Anunnaki. They have been demonized, but they were the ones that brought the balance onto Earth. And so we have Anu, or Anu Sky, the sky god. We have Enlil, the god of wind, air, earth, and storms. We have Enki, the god of water. Okay, then we have Ninhursag, Lilith, the queen of the night. So she's a goddess. Nana, Norse goddess, peace, joy, and moon. Utu, the sun god. Now that could also be called Lucifer. Okay. Inanna, goddess of fertility, war _ Ishtar. And so that's like Easter that people will celebrate. And so there are religions that don't celebrate anything like that because it would be bowing down to a god that is the god of fertility, but it traces all the way back to the Anunnaki. See, now I kind of get why certain religions don't, because they don't want to bow down to one of the 7 original gods. And so then I'm like, okay, so there's these Pantheon of Gods, the first civilization. These are the original ones. And it led to civilization. Then it led to the 6 cradles of civilization. And so you have Mesopotamia, present-day Iran, Iraq, Indus Valley, Pakistan and Afghanistan, Mexico, China, ancient Greece, and Peru. Okay. And it seems that these Norsemen came out of the Greek side of it. And so I'm just trying to figure out which one of these gods were attached to the 6 cradles of civilization. And then also, I'm sure it translated obviously to the 10 oldest civilizations ever existed. And then you have all the different god religions, the offshoots that are taking their own words and spinning how they want to view Anu or An, Enlil, Enki, Ninhursag, Nana, Utu, Inanna. And then you have the Greek mythology, okay? And they all have their own gods. And so I'm going to make this freaking easy for myself. Yeah, I can recognize the 12 Olympians, okay? Because that's when the real bioengineering came into play. And so we first had the platform of the 7 original Anunnaki that gave mankind, and potentially probably enslaved mankind, but gave them enough intelligence. And then we were given even more intelligence through the Greek system. And we also had the Chinese, they have their own the dynasties in their system. And so they had their philosophers and their religion, you know, the Buddhism and Taoism and what is it? I don't have them all offhand. Islam, Catholicism. So then they're playing off of other religions. And so, there is definitely a graduation point, a progressive point from the first original. And so I could see now why some of the born again Christians and even some of the offshoot religions that are into recruitment don't celebrate holidays, because these holidays are then recognizing one of the seven or all of the seven gods of the original ones that gave mankind who he is today. And so I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it. But see, here's the thing. You must have, like, I don't like war, but when you're procreating, okay, when procreation happens, you're taking a plus and a minus and putting them together. You're going to have resistance, but also explosion. You're going to have fusion. And that's all nuclear fusion. That's when you put a plus and minus together or whatever, and it creates an explosion, and then it creates then evolution. Okay? So with war comes then procreation. That's why Inanna, goddess of fertility, is also the goddess of war, also known as Ishtar, and that is also Easter. Okay? And so, and then there's the goddess of the wind, air, earth, and storms, or the god of earth, air, wind, and storms, and that's kind of like the mythological gods in the Greek, mythology. But that's Enlil. But they have the queen of the night, Ninhursag, Lilith, queen of the night. So you have the queen of the night, and you have the queen and the goddess of the peace, joy, and the moon. Then you have Utu, the sun god. That is like Lucifer. Lucifer had the knowledge, the light, brought life. And so if I'm going to originate anything as far as the gods, I'm not going to be really delving too much in the Greek mythology, because there's so much to Greek mythology. I mean, you can make the correlation and connections, and they've added more because they added more DNA, they added more hormones, they added more innovation. And really what you're looking at is you're taking a baser level instinct or a baser prototype, which the first Pantheon of Gods were like the prototypes. Well, they were the original creators of mankind, and they created prototypes to then expound upon and innovate. And so that's when the Greek system, the Greco-Roman, the Chinese too, started innovating. And you have all the 6 crowns of civilization, as well as the 10 oldest civilizations, then were expounding upon their first original prototype, which was the first man that was enslaved to the first 7 gods. And I mean, here's the thing. You start out as a slave, okay? You start out as a student, and then somebody's going to have to eventually graduate to know everything that they've learned and expound on it and evolve. And so this is where the progression of evolution has come from in the tools and technology of mankind, but the humans haven't really evolved. That's the issue, is that we have the tools and technology. I mean, we're not living in little dirt huts in the middle of nowhere. We have running water and houses and cars and airplanes. And so we've graduated, we've progressed in technology. Humankind has sort of, but we're still going back to baser level violent instincts, procreation instincts, recruitment and conversion instincts. And that was no different than when the first gods appeared and started recruiting the indigenous population to be enslaved to dig ditches and mine for gold. And so then this is where, then I remember in Exodus in the Bible, when the Jews were trying to escape Egypt, and that's from my training as being raised Jewish, that Moses was given some kind of power from the burning bush, the shining ones, and was told that here are 10 commandments, and you tell everyone to do the 10 commandments, and we'll lead you out of Egypt. And so that's when the Red Sea parted, and then Moses took all the Jews after he threatened and made good on his threats that if Pharaoh didn't release the Jews, then there'd be 10 plagues across the land, and that would be pestilence and blood in the water and killing of the firstborn and all that. I mean, and so then that's like Passover, okay? And that's when people put blood of lamb on their door that were Jewish, and so the angel of death would pass over the Jews that had the blood on the door, And so they would kill then all the Egyptian firstborn. And so finally then the Pharaoh then released all the Jews, and they went into the land of Canaan, and it's all history from there. So that's my exposure to the first, or the Old Testament. Okay, and so somewhere in this, somebody spoke to all the different prophets out there, because I mean, when you think of Moses and Noah and all these different prophets, then you're looking at I'm just trying to think of how I'm trying to figure out how to say this. God, I just totally lost my train of thought. Somebody had, well, I don't know how to say that. Like Socrates. Socrates was taught the Socratic method of debate, and annihilate, or question and answer. And also always pitting one person against the other, or one idea against the other, and not giving any room for anything outside of the two-party system type of thing. And then the Trinity is somebody pulling the strings. So somebody has given certain people more knowledge so they can lord over other people. So as long as they keeping the gods happy. I don't even know where these gods are. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out. Well, I mean, I know my government, but the things that we hear about, I don't even, like, who are we, who's, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, like, who the gods are, who are the original, or not the original, who are the ones that, well, it's all compilation. I can't say who the ones that, it's a compilation. We've had dynasties that have taken information and expounded upon it, squirreled it away, released only a certain amount to the public, so the public only knows a certain amount of stuff, but then the dynasties would pass the knowledge, the profound knowledge, to their offspring, so the offspring would hold on to that knowledge, and they'd be called the illuminated ones, I guess, because they understood the bigger picture, not the small compartmentalized picture that's given piecemeal to the slave class. So it's the dynasties. And now with the internet, now you have all the information. Plus then there's probably more going to be revealed. So, I mean, like the aliens, or I'm not even sure of. So, but they could be true too. So, I mean, but I'm going to simplify this and say these are the 7 original gods. And I know mythology, the Greek mythology, is based upon this. Greek mythology is completely using this as a framework, because those were the original gods that gave then the Greeks room to then expound upon and say, okay, instead of 7 original gods of the Pantheon of Sumer, now we're going to have the 12 Olympians, and then all the demigods on top of that. So, holy crap, holy. But this is going to help me just bring everything first full circle, because this is what causes the division. Because you have the pale Norsemen, Viking gods of Nana, and you have the war gods, and then they are all in different parts of the world, and they have different melanin. And so when you're getting exposed to the sun, you'll have more melanin than a person who's in the Norse, like in the Vikings in Norway or whatever, where there's not a lot of sun, but it's not so bright, so they're not going to be as dark. And then the salt cures the people in their melanic skin. And so when they travel across land bridges, they're not really evolving. They're just adapting for a certain amount of time. And so you have the white god come into somewhere like the equatorial area. And then people start clashing. And then there's all these cultures mixing. And so that's why we have 7 billion people. Holy crap. Okay, bye.